Hey guys, welcome back again. Today I'm just going to take the time to talk to you about one of my species that I've got here, Porcellio laevis. So the Porcellio laevis species, color morph I have out right here is called the dairy cow. I also have one more we'll take a look at in a bit, but I just want to say a couple things about this species and how it can be a great isopod for bioactive enclosures or just to have as a pet. They're a relatively hardy species in comparison to a lot of other species. They do love to eat, as you can see. They have no problem munching down. They are very tough in the sense that they don't need a very specific care guideline. They don't have to be watched after too well. They can survive in quite a few situations. As far as it comes to moisture level, they prefer it to be a little bit of a moisture gradient there. They don't want to be in a sopping wet environment, but they definitely want to have some sort of moisture in the container. Obviously they do want a dry side as well, but they don't have to be super dry like some of the species, and they don't have to be super wet like some of the others. You do have to have a little bit of extra ventilation, I would think, with these guys, to the fact of the size of them and how much gas they're going to create just due to the fact that they reproduce so quickly and there's so many of them. You know, they may seem small to us, but methane can build up even for these guys and any other species as well. So ventilation does need to be a factor for this particular species. But I would say you could home it in a relatively dry area as long as it's not completely dry. If there's some sort of moisture around, they should be able to survive. They are a crustacean, as are all isopods, so they do need to have some sort of moisture to be able to survive and thrive. But other than that, they're pretty well they're pretty well okay in like almost any situation. I'm trying to think of any where it would be any reptile it would be bad to have them with. Maybe if you had a smaller amphibian, I wouldn't use these guys as a bioactive cleanup crew, due to the fact that they are a hungry species, so they will enjoy nibbling on anything. If I were to put my hand in there, they will actually jump on there and try to nibble on me. If I stood still long enough, they would see me as some sort of protein, and they would actually take a little bit of a bite out of me if they weren't scared of me. Some of them are a little bit more hesitant than others, obviously, but it's not like it's gonna hurt or anything. But if you had a small, like a dart frog or some sort of newt or sort of amphibians that are relatively small size, I wouldn't want to house these guys. See, none of them actually went after me there because of the fish food. They'd rather chew on that. But yeah, so they're not gonna hurt any larger reptiles or any reptile that has scales on it. I mean, maybe if you had a bearded dragon that was one of those soft skin bearded dragons, the silk skin I do believe they're called, or scaleless looking bearded dragons, I would not suggest these guys. Not that they would hurt them, it's just rather not take the chance of them being hurt. You're going to pay a lot for those reptiles, and you don't want to risk getting them injured by having these. Now, they will dig, so I wouldn't worry about them getting eaten too much, and they do breed relatively quickly, so you shouldn't have a problem with them in that manner or sense. But they, like I said, they are a protein-hungry isopod, so they will try to nibble on anything they can. And if anything stays still for too long of a time, it could result in them getting a little bit of a nibble on. But for for the most part, these guys don't have strong enough teeth to penetrate through scales or kill anything. They're just detrivores, right? So they eat dead things, they eat decaying stuff. So they'll nibble on anything. They'll eat bark, but they don't like gnaw through it like a termite would. They just scrape off the top layer with their tiny little teeth, or mandibles, I guess you would say, or whatever a crustacean has. Mandibles would be an insect. I would assume that a crustacean also has mandibles, but I will have to look that up and let you guys know about that maybe in the next video. Yeah, so yeah, I really like them. They're not too expensive, easy to take care of, and obviously they breed really quickly. You can see as I'm talking here how many more are coming out of the blue. They just start coming out of the woodwork, I guess you'd say. But they come out through the soil as well, and yeah. Let's take a look at another one of my laevis species I have here. So these guys here, they're going to start coming out in a bit, but I'm going to continue talking for now. These are my Porcellio laevis milkbacks. Now, I don't have too many in here in comparison to the dairy cows. There is quite a few though. We'll see some in a bit as they slowly come out here. They supposedly get larger than the dairy cows. So again, these are also a nice option if you have any reptiles or amphibians that you want to keep them with that are, let's just say, able to create a large mess in their aquarium or terrarium or whatever you want to keep them in, and you need something that's going to be able to handle a large amount of matter. These guys would definitely be a good option due to the fact that they are very hungry isopod, and they are very large and can handle a large amount of debris. They are a little bit different in looking. Hopefully some of them come out of here soon so you can see them. They definitely have interesting markings, and they go for about the same price as the dairy cows do, so they're also a great option depending on which one you want. Now if you wanted something that was going to be more likely to hide and not stick out, like the dairy cows are quite white with the black dots which stand out quite noticeably, and you want something that's going to be a little bit more hidden and less likely to get eaten, then I would say the dairy cows are a better or the milkbacks, are a better option. They have more of a brown coat to them with a little bit of a white-black streak on their back that looks like they got a drop of milk on them from the dairy cows, I guess. No, I'm kidding. From actual cows, supposedly. Not that it's actually milk, but it does look like it. Alright, so here you can see a couple of them have finally come out. Sorry I paused it there because they are taking a while to come out. They're sniffing around now, they're finding the food, so I just wanted you guys to see. As you can see, they are more of a brown coloration with a spotted white stripe down their back, as you can see. The babies there, you can see, have more of a lighter color than the adults, but as the adults get older, you can see how they'd be more likely to be hidden away than some of the dairy cows would. I mean, you can get some dairy cows that are mostly black, but for the majority of it, they do have quite a white coloration with a lesser black coloration. So they are going to be easy targets for a lot of your motion sensitive reptiles, which are quite a few of them. Now, I don't use isopods as bioactive enclosures. I actually keep them because I enjoy them, and I find them quite interesting, and I like them. I don't know, they're cute little guys. They look like little robot bugs with long antennas, and I just find them interesting to watch and feed, interact with, And this is one of the species that I think that you could really do that. Maybe not my milkbacks quite yet because they're a relatively young culture and they haven't got as much bravery as some of my other cultures. Now, if we take a look at my dairy cows here in a little bit, I'm going to show you how they can pretty much just be picked up and held and messed around with. Here, let me show you there. Now, as you can see here, I'm just gonna carefully reach down in here. I'm not gonna try to scare him or anything. I'm just trying to gently coax him up on my hand. Oh. Come here. It's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you. They are a fairly large species here, so you can see. And they're not really that scared of you. Like, they're not gonna run out and hide and be skittish and run away like some of the Spanish species. That's the word I'm looking for. The Spanish species, I find, maybe not all of them, but quite a few of them are quite skittish and they like to run and hide. Maybe it's because they haven't been in the hobby as long. But as you can see, like, he's not really nibbling on me or anything. He's just smelling around, but they're super cute, as you can see here. There's a little guy. I guess a fairly large guy, but he's not going to do anything. He's just going to walk around. And they're not afraid to be held. I'm sure I could try that with the milkback as well, but like I said before, they're a relatively young culture, and I don't feel comfortable doing that to them yet because I don't want to scare them. I want them to keep on feeling safe and grow, which is healthy for them, you know. Stress freaks them out. They don't want to breed. They don't feel safe. They would try to run and hide, and that's not something you want when you are keeping isopods in a hobby type of style. Maybe if they were in a container with here, one sec here, I found it really. Oh, he's gone. I'll show you this guy over here. Maybe if you were keeping them as a bioactive style, it could be different. But see, you can see here, this is a darker individual. A darker individual here. But like I was talking, some of them are like this, where they're almost all black. Where that one might be able to hide from a reptile, but again, you can see the very vivid white skirt, and his children or her children, I can't tell here, I'd have to flip him upside down, which I don't want to do. He's had enough. But if I were to flip him upside down, I could tell if it was a male or female, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to freak him out or risk hurting him. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of whiter individuals, like the ones you can see running down over here. They're not going to be able to hide as easy as some of the other species that, or the milkbacks would. I got one of them braver guys to come up on my hand here. I just left my hand in there for a little bit and he crawled up on me, chewing on me a little bit here. But I just wanted to show you as an example how different the coloration is between the two and how much better I think these guys would be hiding in a bioactive enclosure. Now, this is a relatively lighter specimen in comparison to a lot of the other ones in the container, and as you can see, he's got quite the color coat there. He could hide along the amongst the foliage pretty well, I think, and be able to stay hidden from pretty much any reptile that you would have. So yeah, overall, I would say Porcellio laevis is definitely a species that you would be able to use for pretty much any type of situation. They're great to have as a hobby isopod. They're great to have as in a bioactive enclosure, as long as you don't have anything too small in there like a dart frog. I mean, these guys could get bigger than some species of dart frogs, so potentially it could cause a problem in the fact that they could become more aggressive towards the dart frogs. I mean, possibly they could live together harmoniously, because they do not eat the same things. Isopods eat decaying and let's just say bio excretion. So they wouldn't go after the frogs necessarily if they were healthy, but if you had a sick frog and they were having a long nap, then it could become food for the isopod, and that's not something you're going to want with how expensive some dart frogs are, especially some of the smaller species are still quite a high price. So if you have anything like that, I wouldn't suggest getting these, but if you had any sort of gecko or bearded dragon, as long as you don't have one that you know is too expensive that you're worried about getting nibbled on, then you know these are great guys to have, and I love them as a pet and for the hobby of keeping isopods. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say today. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next weekend. Bye.